Hello Gautham, welcome to Cinema Express, the entertainment division of the New Indian Express. It's a pleasure to have you on our show today.
Thank you.
COVID-19, first time you're documentary narrator, you're donning a new hat. So it's a very pressing, very current, and very important topic to talk about as well. So let's start with the cliche question. So how did it all happen, and where do you fit in this narrator aspect?
I think I got a call from Discovery asking if I'd like to do this, and I said yes straight away. And then they sent me the script, and also got to do it at a studio with this person called Mahesh, with whom I've dubbed for many films from VTV onwards, actually. And it was an opportunity to meet him also in that sense. But otherwise, it's the whole COVID-19 thing that drew me towards saying yes, stepping out from the safe zone of my house to a studio, and dubbing for across 2 days. The voiceover or the narration part of the documentary. Clearly, what drew me was the concept itself, was the idea that I wanted to see what this was about, and also wanted to learn along the way as to how we've handled this and what we've done. So, yeah.
Be it the fact that you belong to an industry that has been predominantly affected by the COVID situation, as well as belonging to a city that has been majorly affected by it as well. So, how was it for you personally to be a part of such a documentary?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It was a very personal idea, which is why I said yes also to it. There was lots of other things that were going around, but I haven't really ventured out as such to be a part of anything other than the stuff that I put together and I wanted to release and all that. It is purely because of the war we sort of waging against the virus, and the people in the front lines and how they worked, and what the statistics is saying, and what progress we've made, like the rest of the world. I really wanted to be a part of that, so which is what drew me there.
We've seen Discovery do documentary about natural disasters and documentaries like that. Even the recent Chennai floods was covered by them, and it was visually a very stunning experience. How is it going to be when it's going to be a documentary about a virus? Visually, what can we expect from the documentary?
There's a lot of work that's gone on in this. I could figure out from when I watched the rushes at the dubbing suite. There's a lot of work, extensive work. It's not just a compilation or bites of people talking and stuff like that. There's a lot of work that's gone into it. Like I was saying even recently or yesterday, it's going to get telecast, and it's going to stream now in like some time, right, in a few days. And we are in the middle of the war, actually. I really hope they come up with a part 2 of the documentary to sort of figure out how we've sort of won the war also against the virus. A lot of work, a lot of visuals have been put together. Painstaking effort has been done to film amidst COVID, amidst lockdowns and stuff like that across various places in India. And they've got some great shots of the cities under lockdown, and obviously a lot from the Prime Minister's speeches, and from the health department and what they've done, from people working in laboratories to the frontline people out there, from police officers to the nurses to the doctors doing the work. So it's covered a whole lot of stuff that's happened in India, and the whole transport system that sort of went into gridlock, and the migrants and people being displaced and walking from one place to the other. Everything is covered. It's India reeling under the effect of COVID, but it's put out in a very nice, nice is not the word to use. It's put out in stark manner. At the same time, it leaves you with hope at the end. It's not a bleak picture at all. It leaves you with hope, because there is a war, and it's been managed by a lot of people. Millions of people have fought this war, and I think it ends, or it stops at a very positive note. And that's why I'm hoping they'll pick it up and finish the war also, actually. Yeah.
We know you love voiceovers, and BAT and PT, as well as your previous films. We've seen you giving voiceovers as well. So how is it to give a voiceover to a product which you haven't created yourself?
No, I felt one with it. I was hoping the script would be a sort of a personal narration sort of a thing. I was really hoping, and it was not something that I don't mean to sound condescending, but it can always be just a overall voiceover describing a few things, and it didn't have to be personal. But this was thankfully and nicely done in a very personal manner. And in my narration, I've even said that I, Gautham Menon, I'm going to take you through, India's war against COVID, in Tamil, obviously. But I've said that only because I felt a sort of a personal touch to the whole thing, So, yeah.
Be it channels like Discovery, who are concentrating more on Indian content, as well as Netflix, who are concentrating more on Asian content, and you're also doing a film with them. So, how do you think these international brands are coming into the country and giving it importance?
No, not just about high time they did it. We were always on the map. I think we'd like to be noticed for the right reasons, obviously. And as far as filmmakers and the films that come from here are concerned, I think it's about time we were on all the platforms and all the top filmmakers and the new filmmakers. So on most of these platforms, it's a great alternative platform for a lot of young filmmakers to exhibit their wares. All theaters are not going to be really open about every film. The small budget films really don't get noticed at all. It's the big heroes that bring the crowds in and also bring the theaters to be very interested in and stuff like that. So I think we were always there, and now we're flooding the platforms is how I look at it. Yeah.
And unga side la paathuttona, we've seen you getting into acting recently, mainstream acting that too, not just coming as a cameo or a director varama. We've seen you in full-fledged roles such as films such as Trans and இப்போ recent kannum kannum kolliyadthal as well. இப்போ narrator ன்ற ஒரு புது ரூபமும் கூட.
இல்ல, I don't look at it like that. I think it's just like how I write my scripts. I have no idea when I'm sitting to write, what's going to come up. I love the process. Sometimes nothing comes up, there's just this empty screens and blank papers and stuff like that. So that's how it has been for me from the time I was in school and college. I just take it as it comes. I work towards that. I put a lot of effort. And then I let whatever happens happen in the flow of the screenplay. I don't have plot points which tell me this is where I'm going. I just let it meander like a river would, and I just take it as it comes. And whatever roles you see me playing are all, at that moment, something that would have attracted me about Trans. I very clearly, I wanted to be in a film with Anwar Rashid and Fahad Fazil, and I'm a big fan of Fahad Fazil's work, and I know I've heard so much about Anwar Rashid and the way he films, and the very few films that he's directed and the few films that he's produced and all that. So when they called me, I wanted to be a part of that unit. And it was a very wholesome, enriching experience for me to watch them at work. Apart from what you do, there are units that work like this also, kind of a thing. And even Kannum Kannum was because Dulkar asked, and then there was a producer who was, like-minded and stuff like that. So, right, even with this, I felt it could be the right thing to do. Speak about being in a documentary with just my voice being heard. But the subject was COVID and how India is waging its war against the virus and all that. So I just take it as it comes as to what grabs me at that particular moment. That's all it is.
And you're talking about putting in effort as well. And during this lockdown, you released a Ondraga special, a song came out. And then there was a sequel of sorts to one of your most celebrated films. And then the role of a narrator as well. And Joshua's first single also released recently. So how has the lockdown been?
Unfortunate circumstances. And silver linings have been there. Time spent at home like never before. Sad that something like this had to happen for us to scamper back home and stay at home. I can't really say that much about myself because I've generally tried to be at home largely. I don't film on Sundays and all that, but this is 24 hours at home. So there was a lot of time that I could spend with the family, and also I got a lot of time to myself, which was not driven by other people. You know what I'm saying, at work. There was a lot of writing. Initially, it was a little skeptical. Halfway through, it was nice. And then the uncertainty was bothering. It still is, actually. Theaters are not opening up, rightly so. They're not allowed to feature film shoots as yet, rightly so. And even any other gathering has to be very carefully constructed and seen through and all that. It's all about safety right now, because you can't really predict how immune you are, or and what the old people at home are like and stuff like that. So one has to be careful. The uncertainty is what was really is what is really bothering. Otherwise it was largely okay. Is how I finished that. In the sense, the writing was good. and sometimes you look at it the next day and it wasn't good at all. And then whatever you write, you realize that you can't really go out and film, and then your writing gets changed to that mindset that this can't be filmed, so can we change it around? And I felt that wasn't good. Then you step back a little bit from the writing. But otherwise, I started off, it was a little unfortunate that one had to scamper back home because of the situation and spend time at home. But that time, this time will never, be like this. I guess a lot of time at home, getting to know everybody a lot more, and that was very useful and sort of much needed. Something that needed to happen, I think.
And I can't even think of ending this conversation without talking about the huge lineup of films that you got. Something that I wanted to ask personally was I love VTV, and the talks about it having a sequel has been there for quite a while. And out of the blue, Munnadiye Sonna Madiri, Kathi Telsidayan came in. And what I want to ask is the sequel for the VTV still on, or is this the sequel that you're waiting for?
No. What I released was sort of an excerpt from a script that I'm writing, and I felt the scene could be filmed and put out. I was passionate about that, and it would serve as a sort of a reminder and as a sort of a prologue, like a just an excerpt from a film that's going to come up, sort of a thing. And I'm writing that. I'm waiting for a few things to fall in place for that. It's one of the films that I've planned, and that's in my mind right now. But the writing is still in progress. It's work in progress and will be done very soon. I also have something aligned with Suriya. We're looking at it on the same plane as of now. Nothing is confirmed as yet, but I hope we will get it confirmed very soon. Other than that, I have Joshua and Dhruva Natchathiram to release. Both these films have about 10-12 days of work left. Post-production is on in full swing. We've been actually editing remote, sitting in two corners, Anthony and myself. And we've been working at it, and hopefully, when things open up, these two will be one of the big films that will hit the screens, is what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
Well, we got Queen season 2 coming up, and then I heard that you're doing a series with Netflix as well as one with Amazon Prime with PC Sriram sir.
Yeah, see, the platforms would like to announce this and talk about it themselves first, which is the instructions, which are the instructions we've got. So, yes, but there is a lot of work on the OTT front also happening. We are so we're coexisting. We're working towards feature films being released. At the same time, we are looking at content that might work on the OTT platforms, and we're trying to pitch for a few of those. Yeah.
Ondraga special where you released the song Oru Chance Kudu Punne. So when it started, the originals there seemed to be a mix of all the genres, and now they seem to be concentrating more on the romance angle alone. So is that how it's going to be, and can we expect more from that front?
Yeah, we have about 15 songs ready.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily romance and in that genre. I guess we just picked to release these songs back to back. That's all it was. Like if you saw the last song, there is an excerpt, sneak peek of what is the next song. It is a love song, yes, obviously between two people. But I think it'll be filmed a little differently. It needs a little more going out and look various locations. So I'm not able to do that right now. I want to make sure everything is safe and all that for everybody involved in the crew. This was easy to pull off, even though it wasn't. It's not really easy to shoot without lights and till you're really confident about your work and stuff like that. And that's what I think we pulled off with Oru Chance Kudu Punne. We filmed at home with a very minimal crew. We made sure everybody's safe and all that, and we pulled it off. But we have lots of genres of kinds of music the kind of music that we put out for Ondraga, and you will be surprised at what's coming up for sure.
Now that India itself is trying to get ready to unlock itself from the lockdown that we had recently, how do you think the film industry is going to be on one front, and from your end, what can we expect first?
I think one big film here and one big film in Bombay will bring the crowds back to the theatre. These will be event films that will bring the crowds back to the theatre. We are hoping. That's the passion that drove us actually to make films, to put those films out in theatres and have a like-minded audience going for the film and appreciating it and liking it and accepting it even if it doesn't work, but that's the ideology actually, creating images for people to watch. That will happen. At the same time, like I said, there are OTT platforms for people to sort of put out different content. And that's actually a huge boon, if you ask me, for a lot of young filmmakers and for a lot of filmmakers itself. Other than that, I think right now everybody's looking to see if we can film under safe conditions, and how lots of theory and discussion is happening about how safe we can get our sets to be, or our locations to be, and our units and crew to be like, and all that stuff. So we're reading up a lot of material that people are putting together, and we're also in discussions based on how to pull off a shoot. I don't think it's as easy as just wearing a face mask and going to shoot. There's a lot more involved. At the same time, we are hoping there'll be, some respite from the onslaught of the virus. That there'll be some, miracle cure or a vaccine, or even medicines that'll start curing people. I'm sure it's just a setback, a big setback in terms of, any which way of life, and we'll all get out of that very soon. I'm hopeful and positive. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Gautham. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Okay. Sure, guys. Thank you.